Welcome back, Middle School Tech. Let's keep on tracking. So far, we have seen the front cover, and I wanted you to kind of look around the textbook, get familiar with, kind of just orient yourself in this new place, right? So here's the textbook, made by a guy named Rudin Waterdy, which is his online name, I assume. Now let's jump right into the first chapter called Getting Started. So in high school technology, the objective is for you to write your own mods. Now, for those of you who don't know what a mod is, well, that stands for modification, and it's basically where you write some script that Minetest will then take, and it'll integrate into the game. Hopefully, you've written it correctly. More than likely not. You got to go back and change it. At any rate, you've written a modification. The Minetest will take it. You got to follow their conventions, and it will then add that to the game, and it'll change the game in some way. And there's all kinds of ways of changing the game of Minetest. As you may know, it is open source, which means that what's that mean? Well, it's referring to the source code, and it's saying that the source code, the very foundation of the game, is actually open and available for anybody. And so you can go all the way down to the core of to the engine of Minetest and change things. Now, we're never going to get down to that level, but that's kind of the focus and the reason why I've selected Minetest to learn on. It's a voxel game, which is a lot of fun, but also we can change just about anything. Well, yeah, anything we want to about the game. So what do we have here when we talk about Minetest? As you can, if you would, read the What Are Games and Mods section of the Getting Started chapter, it kind of it gives us a paradigm shift. Instead of us looking at it as just a complete and finished game, it changes our perspective on what exactly a game is. The heart and soul behind Minetest was to give people the ability, without having to get caught up in all of the, as they say here, voxel algorithms and voxel graphics and various things like that, without getting bogged down in that, they would be given the tools to complete some task. And so they've set out the scaffolding, and they set out machines, if you will, that you're able to use. Now, it's important to know the actual terms of these different pieces and tools that Minetest provides you with. And for many reasons, the first thing that comes to mind is that you can then do your own research and find answers to your questions. The other thing is that it helps me in being able to communicate with you different concepts without having to use generic terms. So the first acronym, I guess you could say, or vocabulary that I want to introduce you to is called API. Now, that stands for Application Programming Interface. Application Programming Interface. Let me make sure. Yep, there you go. Application Programming Interface. It's right there. So what does that mean? Well, basically, that's referring to all those machines and tools that I just told you about. So Minetest, what they've done is they're the application. They're the application that you want to use in order to make something, right? In order to make something. Programming would be what you need to do in order to accomplish something using this application. And then the interface is our way of actually accessing that core and allowing that core to do something. And so I think of like a building, for instance. So there's a building, and you have a bunch of machines inside of that application or building, if you will. And so the interface with that building is going to be maybe a door. I don't know, I don't know what the best analogy here is, but effectively that is what you would use to produce something with that building. So that building has been created and designed for you Now you just need to know how to work with that building to get the outcome. They've advertised, they've told you this is what the building is capable of. Now it's your part to figure out how to interface with that. Now, of course, they have provided you with the API, and it allows you to, like I said, interface with those tools. Now, how does it allow you to do that? Is it like buttons? No, it's all text-based. So they have created different words in which you can use. And it will take those words and recognize them and recognize the function of those words. And then following the extra definitions that you've applied to that word, if you will, it will then execute some sort of action. So that's the first word. And I wanted you to kind of understand big picture what we're doing here and why we need to learn some of those fundamental words. So I'm not going to necessarily get into how to use the API. I just want you to know that it exists out there, and that we are learning terms so that later on, when you get to high school, we're able to actually program and use that interface. So for your assignment today, I want you to basically just define, write out what is API, what does the acronym stand for, but also I want you to give a little brief definition in your own terms of what an API is. And if you want to get more specific with Minetest, that's okay, what the Minetest API is. But using a creative media. Now, what am I talking about? Well, let me give you an example. So this is actually something I see quite a bit, and I'm okay with you using it one time. That's the caveat here, is that any creative media that you use, you then cannot use a second time. Because what's the point? The point is I want you to be creative and come up with something awesome, some way of communicating that you've never used before. Basically what I'm saying is you can't use just anything, right? Like Google Docs, you can't use Microsoft Word, you can't use Notepad. You have to use something you've never used before, and I'm giving you a freebie this time, okay? I see this one quite a bit. You can get on Amazon. You don't have to order the mug. Now, if you want to be my guest, I would love to receive from you a mug with the answer to the question on it. Now, just make sure it's the right answer. But, okay, maybe it's not all right, like a grade on there. It would be hilarious. So please, print me off a mug and send it to me. But in Amazon, you can make a custom mug. And so this is a great, fun idea. You know, you can, what are we doing? API, and then you can set it equal to something, right? And define it. So, and then what you would do is you take a screen capture of your screen, and then submit that picture as your completed assignment. So that is one option. There are millions and billions of other ways. You might be thinking, how many? No. But there is, I promise you, okay? Just get creative. Get creative with your media. Media, I don't know. Whichever word it is. You get the idea. This is what I want. So yeah, what is an API? Just define API. What does that acronym stand for? And then in your own words, what is a brief description of an API? And if you want to get specific with Minetest, fantastic. Sounds great. So, and write it on a creative medium. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you next time.